So today's video is kind of about failure and giving up and all of those fun, depressing sort of subjects that tend to come up sooner or later once you are in this publishing industry for a little while. The other day I was watching a video, I think it was a publishing podcast or something along those lines, and someone in the comments said, "I've already sent out 30 queries. Is that too much? Should I quit?" My reaction was a little unkind, I admit. I didn't say anything, of course, but I kind of laughed. 30 queries is your beginning, it's your start, it's the first 2 batches that you send out if you're me and you are a little over-eager. So here's the answer to when you should quit. That would be never. The truth is, it just doesn't matter how many rejections you get. There is no point you reach when you are not allowed to send out any more queries or write the next book or try again. There's no query police that poof into being after your 130th query. Hand over your writer card, you've reached your maximum amount of queries and it's time to admit that you're a failure. That is not a real life thing that happens because you're in the query trenches and it sucks and you might get rejection after rejection after rejection, and it might not be this book that pans out for you. It might be that you have to write another one. It might be the next one or the next one. You just keep telling yourself, okay, this is it. This is the time that I'm going to get an agent. This book. If you have to tell yourself that, it's okay. I used to think that maybe that was giving myself false hope, but the fact is, there's no such thing as false hope. If you're holding on to the idea that this manuscript is going to be the one, and that's what gets you through all of the rejections, and that's what makes you continue querying, and that's what makes you continue writing, then it's not false hope. Because once you get to your goal, to your destination, it will have been hope that drove you. And there's nothing false about that. You don't fail until you quit. The beautiful thing about the publishing industry, as hard as it can seem sometimes, is that there really is no permanent failure. You get rejected and you just brush it off. And at a certain point, you get so used to that rejection that you are able to brush it off. Sometimes, especially at the start of querying, every little rejection can sting a lot. And sometimes I remember when I first started querying, it would be days that I would just sit there and feel sorry for myself after a particularly stinging rejection. And at this point, I'm not querying anymore, but towards the end, you don't feel it anymore. It's not something that bothers you anymore. You just kind of end up reading over the rejection, accepting it for what it is, and saying to yourself, not this one, but the next one. If you're ever feeling down, a great thing to do is research your favorite authors and see how many times they had to tell themselves it would be the next one. I know everyone talks about J.K. Rowling and her 15 rejections or whatever it was, but that's not what I'm talking about. Go look at people like Beth Revis and her video on how hard she tried to get published before it happened for her. It was like 10 years. There are lots of authors out there who wrote 4, 5, 6 books before they wrote the one. Every time you fail, it's another learning experience. Use that failure to push yourself forward. So next time you get a particularly crappy rejection, just remember, you don't fail unless you quit. Don't forget, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, the WordNerds have our live chat, and we would love to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.